everybody, and welcome to another video where I will hopefully answer another one of your frequently asked questions on North Korea. And that is the pretty important question of how on earth do you get there? How do you get to North Korea? Well, I'm gonna answer everything you need to know about how to get to North Korea in this video. So we're gonna start off with step one. You've decided that you want to take a trip to North Korea, and so you will need to find a tour company to go with. The biggest and most popular one being Koryo Tours. But of course there are other companies that you can look into as well. After you've decided on your trip to North Korea, so when you want to go and for how many days you'll be there, you're gonna have to somehow get from wherever you are in the UK or US into North Korea. And how are you gonna do that? First, you'll probably actually have to get into China. So a lot of people still even now ask me, can I just go to North Korea from South Korea? No, this is not possible. It's probably one of the hardest borders to cross in the entire planet, going from North Korea to South Korea. Don't do it. It's incredibly dangerous if you were to try and just do it. And anyway, it's impossible. There are absolutely no flights. There's no train service. There's nothing. It's the DMZ, the demilitarized zone, goes for miles and miles and miles. Just don't cross from South Korea into North Korea, okay? So very impractical. I know it would be great if we could just walk across, but hey, can't right now anyway. So the next best option, or one of the only options, is to go from China. And this is the option that pretty much every single tourist to the DPRK will take. Now there are other options. There are flights sometimes from Russia, from Vladivostok and other places in Russia. And also there are other flights from different countries sometimes as well. But flights from different countries in Southeast Asia, such as Vietnam or something like that, they're not super secure. They don't have a secure timetable and they're not reliable, since there needs to be a certain amount of passengers getting onto them for them to fly. And so this is why tour companies will basically only use the China route and also sometimes the Russia route as well. Those are the only reliable ways into North Korea, with, I would say, at least 90% of tourists going from China. And now when you go from China, you have a few options as well. The most popular way to go from China to North Korea is from Beijing to Pyongyang. And from Beijing to Pyongyang, there's a further two ways you can do this. You can choose to take a flight from Beijing's International Airport into Pyongyang Airport. That's a 2-hour flight, and it's a pretty simple, very pleasant flight. Plus you get to fly with Air Koryo, the very famous airline. The second option is by taking a train. And now if you're tight on money but you have a lot of time, then the train might be the best option, because it takes about 24 hours, whereas the flight only takes 2 hours, but it is a lot more expensive. We're talking about a few €100 more expensive for a return. When you take the train, what first happens is that you will take a train from Beijing to the north of China, to a border city called Dandong. And actually from Dandong, you can see into North Korea. It's just a small river away, and you can drive over that in 10 minutes. In fact, the train just takes about 2 minutes to cross. And then once you get into North Korea, then you stop at a place called Sinuiju. And in Sinuiju, that's you're in North Korea then. From Dandong to Sinuiju, you've spent like 2 minutes on that train, and you will then be in North Korea. What I should mention as well is that from Beijing to Dandong, that is an overnight train. So it takes from memory, I think it takes about 8 or 10 hours, and then you arrive in Dandong. You set off from Beijing at about 5:30 in the evening, and then you arrive in Dandong pretty early in the morning. It takes 12 hours, I think. Yeah, because then you arrive in Dandong about 7:30 in the morning. It's a very pleasant train journey. Honestly, Chinese sleeper trains, they're lovely. Even the standard class with the 6 beds, 123, 123, it's lovely, it's a nice experience. And even if you don't like it, it's an experience, okay? So don't be scared off by the Chinese sleeper train. If you're interested, I'll make a whole entire video about them. I love them personally. They're like a third home to me when I'm in China. Once you've done the overnight train from Beijing to Dandong, then you have a little bit of time in Dandong to stretch your legs, because you will change trains. So then you will get onto the train to North Korea. It's the same train station. You'll get on the train to North Korea with your group, or if you're there as an individual, then you'll get on the train to North Korea. You'll exit China. So here you exit China in Dandong train station, exit China, get onto the train to North Korea, spend 2 minutes on that train. Whilst it goes over the bridge, make sure to get your cameras out. It takes lots of cool shots. And then you are in North Korea and at a place called Sinuiju, which is the border city in North Korea. And there you will have your passport taken from you by the border guards. You'll go through customs checks, whatever. This can take a while because the whole train needs to be checked, okay? So it might take like an hour or something like that. You will be able to, once you've had your customs check, you'll be able to get off the train and have a walk around, have a bit of a chill out before you then get your passports back. Okay, so the reason why they take them is because they need to go and register you all at the office. So they take a big handful of your passports and your visas, your North Korean visas. They take those off you, they register you all, and then you get them back, and then you're on your way to Pyongyang. But all in all, the journey takes about 24 hours. You'll leave Beijing at about 5:30 in the evening and get to Pyongyang the next day at about 5:30 in the evening. If time is of the essence, if you're on a shorter tour and you have a little bit more cash to spare, then I definitely recommend getting the flight. This only takes 2 hours. You leave Beijing in the morning, you're in Pyongyang in the afternoon. However, it is a little bit more pricey. The best thing to do, in my opinion, if you have time, if you have money, what a nice way to be, would be to get one flight in and one train journey. So if you want to fly in or fly out, get the train in or train out, I'd recommend doing one of each. If you've already been on a lot of Chinese sleeper trains, then I'd say you don't really need to get this experience. But a lot of people like getting the train in and then the flight out, because getting the train in, you get to see 5 hours full of North Korean countryside, stuff like that. It kind of takes away the whole is this fake thing, because going on a train journey through the country for 5 hours is kind of hard to fake the entire country. So people kind of get to see a lot of North Korea through that, and they like that experience at the start, and then maybe when you're tired at the end of the trip, you could get the flight out and experience an air cargo flight. Some people like to do it the opposite way. So that is basically how to get to North Korea. I'll just go over the main points. So the main thing is, first of all, you need to find a tour company and book your tour. Then you need to get to China, because China is the main way to get into North Korea. It's the easiest way, it's the simplest way, it's the fastest way, it's the most reliable way. You need to decide if you want to get a plane or a train. And if you wanted to, you could also explore other options, for example, from Russia, but you'd have to talk to your tour company about this. And it might make things a little bit more difficult, but it's convenient if you are then traveling on to go to Russia or you're coming from Russia. Okay, so I hope that answers your questions, and I hope to see you in North Korea sometime very soon. Let me know if you have any questions below. Maybe you want to know more advice on getting the train or the plane. If you have any questions about air cargo or any tips on getting a Chinese sleeper train, then do post them in the comments below. And if there's a lot of people that ask the same question, of course, I'll make a video on that and explain it to you in a bit more depth. Thanks for joining in today. Make sure to like and subscribe and do everything like that. Share it with your friends, and I'll see you in North Korea very soon.